What's up, Cowbell Kingdom family? We are back with another post-game show. The Kings unfortunately lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves, 134-114. I'm here, joined by my lovely guest, Javi. How you doing, man?
All right, feeling somewhat better than earlier, but my feelings and thoughts are still the exact same. How are you doing, Ty? This, more than eventful Tuesday in the National Basketball Association, particularly in the city that they call Sacramento, California's capital.
Hey, you know what? It's another day of me living. I can't be mad. And although we ran with the Stockton Kings tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves, hey, you've got to be, you know what I'm saying, at least intrigued a little bit by, a perennial all-star coming in and seeing what he could do, because hey, man, we had second-round picks out there playing. We about to have third-round picks out there playing. So with that being said, Javi, what you think about the game, man? Do you have any key takeaways?
My key takeaway is that the season's over. They're going to lose 50-plus games. That arena's going to get less and less sold out. Well, that's incorrect term. It's going to be less and less fans in the stands. Like, as you've seen, there's less than half capacity full. And, good luck to anybody who believes in this organization from the front office. Like, I don't sit there and understand a pressure if I'm trying to build around De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton 10 to 14 days ago, and then you trade him. But there was ineptitude in acquiring Ben Simmons when he was the piece of why you couldn't acquire him. And for a guy who's facilitator, a scorer, a playmaker, a player that you got as a steal in the draft in the 2020 NBA draft class, whether you trade him for Sabonis or not, it's not about the trade. It's about who's the most impactful player in the Kings. And I love De'Aaron Fox. Like I told Leo in the podcast earlier, after my senior season at Cal Lutheran, I was coming home 2017. They drafted him. I was jubilant. But De'Aaron Fox is a scorer, magnificent scorer. But Tyrese Halliburton is a basketball player. That's the difference. Tyrese Halliburton is a basketball player. And to sit there and act as if, the Kings lost by 20 points and De'Aaron put up 29. And they say, well, they had G Leaguers. So do you think Sabonis is going to walk in here on Friday and they're just going to just mesh? The Kings are 16 games under 500. I don't see what the rush and panic was to go run into the 10th seed. That's not even a real playoff spot. That's a play-in spot that they're going to get blown off the floor if they even get in. And I still think they're not better than New Orleans. Because Leo, I love him. That's my brother. He can yell, talk louder, shout, scream, holler, and all that other nonsense about how the New Orleans Pelicans are not going to be better than the Kings. Well, that's blasphemy. Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, and Zion Williamson are head and shoulders better than the Kings. And if this team that we watch out here with the bonus comes to play the Timberwolves, they'll still lose by 10. Like, I don't care. Tyrese Halliburton was on a rookie scale contract. So all you Kings fans out there are like, yeah, great deal. Your two max players are going to be Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. And they're like, well, he's an all-star. What has he ever won in the league? Where's he ever gone in the playoffs? Like, it ain't even about hating on Sabonis. And then it turned into, oh, Javier wanted to trade De'Aaron. I didn't want to trade either of them. Not for a player like this. It's a guard-driven league. You had a perennial backcourt that could score and pass as well as get to the cup in De'Aaron, and Tyrese was the facilitator. And you guys are like, oh my gosh, Javier, why would you feel this way? I don't know, because since De'Aaron was hurt, Tyrese Halliburton was, again, if you want to go back and look at anything practical, and, let's use some objectivity, because Leo says I'm using my emotions to base this, analysis off of. Tyrese Halliburton this year, out of 93 players that has shot 300 jumpers or more, is sixth in efficiency overall with a 58.7 efficiency field goal percentage, like I stated earlier in the podcast today. Out of 49 players who've had 100 off-the-dribble three-point attempts, he's second in the NBA with 40.6% from the three-point line off-dribble threes. He's 42.6% on catch-and-shoot threes, He's 11th in the NBA in total assists, and he's 21 years old. Like, you tell me. You tell me. Like, what am I missing here? On a rookie scale deal. Like, I'm lost. I'm lost. I'm speechless. No, I'm not speechless. I'm not surprised. It's
Nah,
Sacramento.
you done?
Am
I
I done?
think.
No, I'm not done.
Nah. Hold on. Let that boy Titanic come in here real quick. Hey, something you just glossed over that us Kings fans thought that went away was that boy De'Aaron Fox dropping 29 points tonight. That boy is back. He's excited to play with the perennial All-Star. And hey, you said it yourself. This dude was out there playing with G Leaguers, and he still shoots 50% of the field, 4-6 from the three-point line. Who said De'Aaron Fox can't shoot? Because tonight he was on fire. Now, don't get me wrong with the game script and everything. I'm not gonna sit here and say that De'Aaron Fox is everything in the world, but hey, that same guy that we've had for the last few seasons, that same guy that just missed out on the All-Star game last year, dude, he's happy and he's back. That boy's quick off his feet, and I'm just saying, hey, there's tonight you can see a little bit of rust. That boy hadn't played in what 7-8 games. His ankle, you know what I'm saying? He had a couple turnovers. I'm not gonna lie, but guess what? The 29 points speaks for itself, and I think De'Aaron Fox is actually elated that this team actually went in a direction. We actually chose a direction. We chose De'Aaron Fox, and I know you want to say all this potential. I get it. You're right. The Tyrese Halliburton stats look good. They look good, man, especially at the age of 21 years old. But let's be honest. Let me ask you this question, Javi. Does Tyrese Halliburton ever make an All-Star game in his career? You confident enough in saying that?
Yep. 200%.
I might need to take a bet on that, man, because hey,
You
as
can
much as I
screen
love
record
Tyrese,
this. I don't care. But I'll tell you this right now. I know Tyrese Halliburton at 21 was better than De'Aaron Fox at 21. I know that. And I know you're talking about De'Aaron Fox scored 29 points and he's happy. What's he happy about? That Tyrese Halliburton got traded? That he got Sabonis, who's going to be there for what? 26 games? And probably not that because he ain't playing tomorrow. So it's going to be about 25 games. They're not winning 15 of them games. They're going to win 10 to 12, maybe 13. Everybody's like, yeah, Sabonis. He's a good player, all-star caliber in the East. But I tell you right now, to say the potential, no, there was no potential. Tyrese Halliburton put it on full display in front of every Kings fan that watched the last 8 games. And even before that, when he was putting up assist after assist after assist after assist, after the 38 he had against 3 nights ago when they played not Golden State. Who did he have 38 against at home? Or rather, it was on the road. You know exactly what I'm talking about, though. He put up 38 points and almost brought the Kings back to victory and had that to come up just a minuscule second of winning that basketball game. But again, you guys can all sit there and clamor and hoo and ha and hey, kudos to you. I know this. I know that De'Aaron Fox is, without a doubt, one of the worst defensive point guards in the NBA. And that is no disrespect to De'Aaron Fox, but in the 2021, 2022 NBA season, hold on, I'll let you talk. Hold on. Hold on. In 200 pick and roll possessions, De'Aaron Fox ranks dead last in allowing 1.06 points per possession, and his opponents score almost 50% of the time, 48% from the field. The second worst is KCP, who plays for the Washington Wizards at 0.95 points per possession. The gap between Fox and KCP is the same gap as KCP and the player in the 10th worst slot in pick and roll defense. I know for damn sure that Sabonis does not play defense. So I don't care how good he is. They can't stop nobody on defense. It don't matter what Sabonis can do. They gave up 134 tonight, and you want to talk about, well, De'Aaron Fox had 29. They lost by 20 points.
I'm playing with G Leaguers.
Bruh, they gave up 73 in the first half. I don't care how good Sabonis can play. He's a 6'11 big in a point guard driven league. Let me repeat that. In a point, you know, let me say point. in a guard-driven league. You put him as your first overall pick or your first round pick, your first overall selection in the Miami Millionaire history, and you trade him for Domantas Sabonis, who, in all likelihood, I think could have been had for less. But if I'm going to trade Tyrese Halliburton, it's not him that I'm acquiring, or most importantly, I'm building around both of them guards. I'm saying, hey, the Kings are 5th in the lottery right now. 5th in the lottery. Here we go. Basketball's on. Tyrese is one of the worst on-ball defenders ever in the NBA. End of the day, you play it out.
So what's the plan?
Hold on. You get that overall pick or top 5 protected or whatever it may be in the lottery, and then you go and reconfigure the roster this summer. They made a decision based off a panic level sense of emotion. And now every player they're going to try to dish off from here till Thursday's deadline, the NBA trade deadline, is going to be made in a – every player that the Kings try to send off is going to be 70 cents on the dollar. 70 cents on the dollar. 70 cents on the dollar. Why am I going to be excited about Jeremy Grant, RP? Jeremy Grant has never been a winner in this league. What did he ever do in the NBA? The Detroit Pistons are butt. He couldn't even start when he was on teams that were good, like the Nuggets and the other team he played before he played for the Nuggets. So don't give me
the third best player on the Nuggets. He was the third best player on the Nuggets. He was the third best player on the Nuggets.
Like, what did Nuggets ever do with Jeremy Grant? Like, what?
What do you mean?
Give me some context here.
Why do you think Detroit even threw that money at him? Because
Jeremy
he was that
Grant
third
is
best player.
28 years old, and he's going to want another fat extension at the end of this contract. He's going to want to go into his 30s, 33, and De'Aaron 24. Make that make sense.
He's lanky, he's long, and I definitely see him in the pick and roll with De'Aaron Fox, throwing up them lobs and dunking them down. Because that boy Jeremy Grant, man, hey, there's a reason why he's all these trade rumors, things like that. People want him, and he's just stuck in the Motor City.
One of the fans said the Kings fans didn't have or have toxic energy the way the Hornets fans don't have after giving up 144 points. What are you talking about in the comment section? Like, what does that have to do with anything? I'm not upset about the game per se. I'm upset that they traded Tyrese Halliburton, a guy they drafted 18 months ago. I'm just befuddled, man.
Hey. My take on this is that as much as Tyrese Halliburton was a fan favorite, and as much as I would even say that he was probably my favorite player on the Kings this year, dude, I'm not here to sit here and be like, I wanted to give Tyrese Halliburton up. You know what I mean? I just think at the end of the day, when you look at the pieces and you look at what we had, us keeping Tyrese Halliburton would have kept us in the same position we were in the first place. Because, hey, Javi, you talking about this top five pick? This year's draft class is not strong at all. Tell me who's coming out of that top 5 that's going to be crazy this year and going to be transcended.
Okay, so let's answer this. And are you willing to trade that first round pick right now?
Me?
Are you willing to trade that first round pick in any trade, any deal from now to Thursday trade deadline at this time? Are you willing to put that first round pick in? If you're that confident, because the Kings are going to finish in the lottery, are you willing to put in that first round pick in any deal that you deem feasible to get the Kings where you want them to be in the 11th slot? So they're going to finish 11th in the West and win 33 games, and they're going to have the 8th overall pick, and it was worth it, right? It was worth it?
Dude, even regardless of what happens this year, Javi, like, why are you so focused on this year? You know what I mean? Regardless of what happens this year, this was primed us for the next couple years.
I'm focused on trading a 21-year-old guard that is no longer under your control. That was on a rookie scale contract. A guy that looked at the media and said this, I take it personal when other organizations walk in here and talk bad about my franchise. I'm a member and part of the Sacramento Kings. I'm not going to be part of the problem, but rather the solution. I take pride in this team. I'm a King. I want to be in Sacramento. That's what I want to do. And Leo saying Fox is the same thing. Okay, but that came and ran its course. Y'all didn't answer my question. Who's better at 21? De'Aaron Fox or Tyrese Halliburton? Who's better? Who's better at 21 years old? Tell me.
I think that's debatable. I'm not going to argue either way. I think it's debatable. I think you can argue Fox, you can argue Halliburton. At the end of the day, Javi, guess what? If you want to talk about this Halliburton guy, one, you're going to have to address De'Aaron Fox because now he's going to be, in his second or third year of his max contract. So you expect him just to be happy with another rebuild. And now we traded for a player that is literally the best player he's played with in Sacramento in the last 5 years. Agree or disagree? Is Domantas Sabonis not the best player he's played with in Sacramento? He's the best player we've had since DeMarcus Cousins, okay? And so adding on to that, I just think at the end of the day with Halliburton, man, I don't. It's gonna be tough for me to really justify having him with that max contract if we're, after the next 2 years and hoping that his trajectory keeps going up. Because let's be honest, man, the way that he plays sometimes it's a little bit lackadaisical because he's not looking for his own offense all the time. A lot of the time he's trying to get his teammates involved. A lot of times that's why you're gonna have the 10-point nights. That's why you're gonna have the 7-point nights. And any other Kings fans could agree when we offered Fox that contract nobody's going to disagree that Fox deserved that max contract, right? So I think although Halliburton is, one of the happiest guys on the floor, one of the most spirited guys, somebody that embraced Sacramento, at the end of the day, you have to look at this and move objectively. Because at the end of the day, the NBA is a business. You know what I mean? And hey, you talked a little bit about it with Leo earlier on the show, man. Sometimes that jump shot, suspect. That jump shot, even though it is 40% from behind the 3-point line, he's not pulling that trigger as often as a lot of other players in the league. Let's be honest. Most of his threes are sitting there wide open whenever he can get a kick out. And hey, Halliburton does not shoot off the dribble very often because why? He can't get that shot off. His player comparisons in the league right now, you're looking at the Malcolm Brogdons of the world, you're looking at the Lonzo Balls of the world. And neither of those two guys are going to be the number one option on your team. Neither of those guys are going to be the number 2 option on your team. At best, what we're seeing right now in Chicago with the Bulls and Lonzo Ball is their 3rd option. And you could even argue that there's other guys on the team, what was it, that the late pick from Illinois, Dong Samu or whatever, or who else? Alex Caruso. They've got other options. These guys are just floor facilitators. And when you look at a franchise like Sacramento and you just have him alongside of De'Aaron Fox, what other scoring prowess that we can we attract of the likes of scoring like DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine? You know what I'm saying? And I think at the end of the day, when we look at what we gave up, the Chicago Bulls gave up 2 first-round picks for Nikola Vucevic. That's what a lot of the reporters and teams around the league are saying about this trade. It was very similar to a Vucevic deal where they had to give up their best player. And at the end of the day, we were able to get off of Buddy Hield's contract. Javi, you got to admit it yourself. I don't care how many threes Buddy Hield makes. That guy's atrocious. He didn't want to be in Sacramento. We offload that contract. And then it was, you could even argue it was a 1-for-1. Tyrese Halliburton for a 2-time All-Star. If you look at it that way, you could even argue right now that Domantas Sabonis, being a 2-time All-Star, is the best player on the Sacramento Kings. Hey, I just feel like you cannot be mad at the Kings getting the best player in a deal. As much as we love the 21-year-old guy, the happy dude, we would have just went backwards in that same position. And trust me, I'm the first person to tell you, I was Team Tank. I was the one to be like, yo, let's wrap this shit up. Let's just have it go. But I cannot be mad at my franchise for wanting to make a move that wouldn't put him in the same position over and over again.
I'm just, we all got love for each other. I got love for you and Leo and E-Man and Vince, but I'm just gonna agree to disagree, man. Like I'm not. I believe when I see it. It's hard to find a player that wants to be in Sacramento, and Tyrese wanted to be here. And yeah, we can sit there and talk about this, that, and the third. I don't agree with it, man. Like to say, Tyrese can't get his own shot and this and that. They need somebody that can score, and Domantas Sabonis is a bona fide this and that, and they traded 2 first-round picks for Vucevic and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Like, cool. Like, they're still 16 games under 500. They lost by 20 tonight. The season's over. Like, I've lost interest, to be honest. Like, if I got love for the Kings, I'm a Kings fan, and I'm going to cover it for this platform, but I've lost interest. Yeah. Huh?
You
What
rather
were you
be
saying?
Indiana right now? Indiana, Halliburton. You rather be Indiana?
Would I rather be Indiana? But they're going in a rebuild though. Like they're open to letting people know they're getting rid of their players. Like they got rid of Levert,
Oh,
they got rid of Sabonis, and the next will be Brogdon and or Turner. It'll be one of the two because they got
so
Duarte and then they got Halliburton.
hypothetically, by us keeping Fox and Halliburton, we wouldn't be going into a rebuild going into this offseason.
Hold on. You said keeping Halliburton what?
hypothetically, if we were to keep Fox and Halliburton like how you wanted, right, and we go into this offseason, you mean to tell me we wouldn't be rebuilding?
I feel like you could reconfigure the roster with them two on the team still, with the piece that are on the roster. And then this guy in the comments says, two-time All-Star ain't just this and that. Well, I'm not saying it's this and that, but what has he ever won and what have they ever done in Indiana to make him worth like, oh, well, yeah, we're going to invest in a guy that's never won a playoff series. And if he,
Playoff,
like,
they made the playoffs several years, something that the Kings haven't done in 15 years.
and it's solely because of him? Like,
He was their best player.
what?
Was their best? Was he not their best
I'm not,
player?
I'm not choking up, Leo. I'm not choking up. What do you mean I'm not choking up? I'm just saying, like, again, you're talking about this and that. I'm not saying this and that. I'm saying, again, the Pacers never won anything with Sabonis Sabonis. That's just facts. And it's not even about me not liking the. I like Sabonis as a player. I do. I really do. I just like
I put
Tyrese Halliburton better with De'Aaron Fox better than them two because the age, the price, the compatibility, and just the backcourt. The NBA is a guard-driven league. And again, who's the Kings starting two right now?
I don't got an answer for you. You got
Exactly.
Jeremy
And then you
Lamb.
said,
You got,
yeah, yeah.
hey, I don't know who my starting two guard is, but I know who my starting center / power forward is. And it's a two-time All-Star, averaging in what,
And then
26
and
and
then you
12.
said, yeah, and then
Boom.
you asked me, okay, I want to ask the question because Leo said I answer. He said, in the summertime, if they're to keep Fox and Halliburton, would that be considered rebuild? No, it'd be retooling. They're going to get rid of 2 to 3/5 of that starting lineup and, a majority of that bench and find new players. Like, that's I
Like
mean, the
who?
Kings
Like
are fifth in the
who?
lottery right now to say so what? So they're gonna go and try to get 11th overall in the West and become eighth in the lottery and maybe or maybe not keep their pick in any future trades and transactions that come from now till Thursday? Like, make that make sense. I don't see the logic. I just don't see the logic in it. I don't. I just feel like you had two guards that want to be in Sacramento and you if the Blazers, excuse me, if the Pacers are that desperate to make a move like the Blazers or these teams that are like folding it or calling it in or calling it a season and bringing it in and waving the white flag, just giving up more or less. I think we could have gotten for less. Maybe not. I would rather give up I want to get my first round pick this year and next year and kept Halliburton to get some bonus. Like, if you're so down the draft class, why not give up your first round pick this year and next year and then send them Buddy
Because
and or TT for the Sabonis? Like, because
Pacers want
again, the
talent.
Kings will
Right.
finish eighth, and that's a higher pick than
The,
Halliburton.
the Pacers wanted young proven talent. There's no way they were going to take the 2 first-round picks. We saw when they traded Paul George away, who they get back? Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. The Indiana Pacers have been adamant about not wanting to do the whole draft, long rebuild. So, Javi, that's the question. They didn't want to take the first-round picks because, one, the Kings ain't got no leverage to do that, and two, they're not about this whole long rebuild. So now what?
I mean, they're going through a long
Now,
rebuild. They are. They're trading all
now
their
that
players.
now that that's not an option, we could like ideally, right? Yeah, we can have Fox, Halliburton, and Sabonis, but that wasn't realistic. And look, we got a question in the comments here. Legit questions. Would you have traded Halliburton for Beal? The Wizards never won anything. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I feel like Bradley Beal plays the shooting guard position though. Like, again, we haven't replaced the shooting guard position. Like, Bradley Beal's a better guard than Tyrese Halliburton. Sabonis and Tyrese Halliburton play two different positions. Like, Bradley Beal and Tyrese Halliburton essentially play the same position. Like, again, y'all can sit there and I know people agree with me. Social media agrees with me, and even if they don't, I'm sold on my convictions. And it's not like I want the Kings to lose. I'm just sour at the fact that Tyrese Halliburton wanted to be in Sacramento. Like, and people are saying the reports are he wanted to come to Sacramento to Sabonis rather. Duh, they're gonna say that on national TV or on the Kings. Why do they say you don't want to be here? That's a PR disaster. Like, duh. They're gonna say, well, bad news, Kings fans. Sabonis said he doesn't want to be in Sacramento, but he's forced to due to contract implications. Duh, they're gonna say he has to be here or he wants to be here. He has to. Like, he was just acquired through transaction through this trade. So thus he has to be in Sacramento. Like, again, it's not that I like Sabonis as a player. I do. Like I said previously, I really do. But I just don't like giving up Halliburton. And people saying, you got to give to get. You're right. You're right. But I would have gave draft capital first. I would have gave Harrison Barnes
It
first.
wasn't an option, Javi. Why you keep going with that? It wasn't an option.
But how do you
It
know? Did
wasn't
you
an
ask the Pacers GM that? Was that an option or not?
because
Like, no.
all the Pacers reports said it themselves. If they were going to rebuild, they weren't going to rebuild through the draft. They want proven young talent. Just like I told you before, Javi, why did they trade Paul George for DeMontis Sabonis and Victor Oladipo when they could have got 2 first-round picks? You mean to tell me other teams weren't throwing 2 first-round picks at them for Paul George? No, because they want proven young talent. They're not about this long rebuild. That's why the Pacers didn't do it. And that's why when I asked Leo earlier on when I called in on the show, that's what they have to do. That's what it comes down to. They want
I
proven
just
young talent, and hey, for Indiana fans over there, as much as the Kings have been getting heat, a lot of Indiana fans are happy that they didn't get a single first round draft pick for DeMontis Sabonis. Call Tyrese Halliburton whatever you want, whatever you think he can be, as in he don't have 2 All-Stars under his belt. He's not the third leading big man in double doubles. He's not the best player that De'Aaron Fox has ever played with in Sacramento. Now, do I think that Tyrese Halliburton will have a terrific career and he will be, a solid NBA starter for, whether he stays in Indiana or anywhere? Of course. I do think he's going to be solid, but look at what the Kings have been. Javi, how can you not get that through your head, man? The Kings doing what you want in terms of retooling and potentially getting a guy in the top 5 in a weak draft class, like, then what? Then what do we do? We still have Rashawn Holmes at center. We still have Harrison Barnes. We still have the Buddy Hield contract. We have to do all this, like, dude. What are we gonna do? We have
no.
the opportunity to get a 2-time All-Star. Did ain't that what the
I
Kings
just feel
fans
like
wanted?
that pick could have been used with other players on the roster to package. I'm not saying you had to use that pick to more or less draft that player. But I'm saying a lottery protected top 5 pick used to send out rather unprotected. You send that out with players in the roster in the summer. It's very valuable. That's all I'm saying. Like, they're going to be just where they're at. They're not going to be good enough to make the playoffs. They're not going to be bad enough to be in the top 5 of the lot. They're going to be like between 8 and 12, and that's where they're going to be. But what's frustrating again is that we're sitting there. I don't say we're picking hairs here, but again, putting this in perspective, I to say, oh, I'm being too emotional. It's just hard to let go of Halliburton at this time because of how well he's played. He had 17 assists in his last contest for the Kings. Seabass, and I mean, again, at the end of the day, you spelled Seabass wrong, but I'm not the only one that feels like this. So, I mean, we can make it a joke. People are ripping the Kings on social media, on Twitter, online, laughing at the Kings. JJ Redick gave them a just mouthful today on the NBA. What is it? NBA, the show on ESPN that covers the NBA, the NBA Jump. Like, just ripped him a new one, and and we can say it's biased or not. In the day, JJ Redick one of the best shooters of all time. Like, look at the Pacers couldn't do it with LeVert, Warren, Sabonis, and Turner. What makes you exactly? What makes you think Sabonis can do it with De'Aaron Fox? Like, LeVert,
What
Warren, and
what
Turner are better than their whole
me
surrounding cast.
What makes me think that is that DeMontis Sabonis has gone to the playoffs as the best player on a playoff team. That's what I'm asking you. Accomplishing more than Bradley Beal, since you love Bradley Beal so much. And that's why I asked you the question earlier, Javi. He was the best player on his playoff team. Facts or fiction?
Fact.
A lot of us Kings fans, I get it. I was the one who I agree that if we can be the Pacers of the West, right, and get guys that can get us to a 4 or 5 seed consistently every year, like us Kings fans, we like to be beggars and choosers. We've been talking about making the playoffs for how many years now? So now that we put ourselves in a position with a guy that's experienced, with a guy that's on a good contract, with a guy we didn't even have to give first round picks for, how can you really be mad at that? If DeMontis Sabonis gets us one playoff appearance, Javi, just one, do you realize he's done more for this franchise than any else in the last 15 years?
At the end of the
That's how
day,
low. That's how low we've had to set the standard. Hey, but let's be honest. Is that not a true statement? If Sabonis can take us to the playoffs 1 year, whether it's next year, or the year afterwards, or even this year, he's done something that nobody else has been able to do in a Kings uniform in the last 15 years, and that's
the
facts.
plane or the playoffs. Which one are you talking about?
Playoffs.
Uh, well, again, my perspective is again, it's not going to change, but I'll tell you this: that you better hope Tyrese Halliburton don't turn into Chris Paul or something close to it, because him and that tandem with him, De'Aaron, the way they have in Phoenix with you know uh, Chris Paul and
Don't
Devin Booker is gonna eat at you,
Chris
man.
Paul.
It's gonna eat at you.
Chris Paul's an all, Chris Paul's an all-time point guard that came to Phoenix after what? They showed out in the bubble. They showed some promise. So just like the Kings, if we're able to show some promise in the play-in, potentially we may be able to attract a veteran, not a Tyrese Halliburton who's just as inexperienced or less experienced than a De'Aaron Fox, to mentor over a Devin Booker. This is like, you can't compare the two because Tyrese Halliburton doesn't have that same wisdom. Isn't that perennial point guard? Hasn't been a perennial winner that has won everywhere that he goes. I'm referring to Chris Paul here, whether it's on the Hornets, whether it's the Clippers, or whether it's the Rockets. So as much as we try to make it seem like that, it's a two-guard lineup that is super crazy. Tyrese Halliburton is not Chris Paul. If Chris Paul
No, I'm
went to
saying
any
I'm just saying you better hope he does not amount to Chris Paul in 5 years. I'm not saying he's Chris Paul now. I'm saying you just better hope he doesn't turn out to be that dang
I'll take
good. Because I
I
can see
I'll take
him
that bet.
being a player like that type
I,
of point guard that they have in Phoenix and Chris Paul. I can promise you I can see it. I'm not saying he will, but I can see it though. And I'm sure a lot of other
Ty,
people can't say. Who cares? He's on a rookie scale deal. Your two max players are Sabonis and Fox, who have no playoff wins, no playoff success. Like,
Tyrese,
who are they going to pay
as much as
next?
I love the guy and hope the best for him, he will never be Chris Paul. I'm confident in saying that he'll never be Chris Paul
Respect your opinion. Respect. Um,
because hey,
I mean,
Paul got that mid tearing defenses up. He's won everywhere he's gone. He's one of the best point guards in the history of the NBA. And just like every other Kings fan, you know what I'm saying? We fall in love, that recency bias. We just think that he's everything, all he can be. And hey, I'm confident enough in saying, in addition to that, De'Aaron Fox will finish with a better career than Tyrese Halliburton.
okay. Well, respect you for having that opinion. I think De'Aaron Fox is a fantastic talent. Let him in. That's my guy. I didn't want to trade either of them, but I just feel like the better investment was the 21-year-old, perennial playmaker that's facilitating this offense. I can score at will. You've seen that full display when De'Aaron was out 38. It feels more like, he was used to, have De'Aaron's injury being held out of contest to display Tyrese Moore as a focal point to, I won't say boost his trade value, but to put him on full display to, showcase his talents to the league. And it's disappointing because you hear from McNair or whoever from the Kings that we're not trading Halliburton or Fox, and it was just untrue. And what do you mean, oh my gosh, one game? Like, you look at the assist numbers he put up for 10, 15 games, Leo, like, that's facts, no fiction. That's all fact, no fiction. It ain't like, yeah, I'm talking about his 38-point outing. I'm talking about, what about all the assist numbers? He's a player that'll make himself better. He makes others around him better. Like, and he said
I
never
think
will be. I'm just saying you better hope that he does not become a player of that magnitude because he's on a rookie deal. And Chris Paul, again, has similar characteristics to Tyrese Halliburton. And I think Tyrese can be a player like him. I'm saying he will be. I'm not saying he will be as good as him or better, but I see similarities in their game. You say nobody cares. Well, I care. Well, a lot of people I know that look at us, that talk about us, that see what we've done and what we're doing, and have examined the Sabonis trade are laughing at this right now. But again, Sabonis era, good to you. Hey, don't think I don't want the Kings to win. I do. I truly do. I want them to have success. But the season is over. It was over before the deal. They're 16 under 500. Like, if they're gonna trade Tyrese Halliburton, I wanted more. Or to be honest, I just didn't want to do it at all. I just wanted to keep them two and build around them two. That's my own. That's my own personal opinion. You know what I'm saying?
I
Period. Like,
think
that's my own personal belief and want that I want to build around them two at this time right now, and have Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox be the two focal points of this program and this organization moving forward, man. That's what I wanted. That's it.
I think a point that you brought up that was very interesting was Monty McNair. And I think that when you look at the bigger picture, Tyrese Halliburton was Monty McNair's guy, right? He was his first round pick. So for him to have to give up his guy in order to acquire a guy like Domantas Sabonis and have to have him put his pride aside, because hey, with this trade, I think it just goes to show that Tyrese Halliburton did have more trade value around the league, especially with his contract. So for Monty McNair to put his pride aside and say, you know what, Fox is our guy. We're gonna have to go all in. I think that shows assertiveness. That shows that a guy is willing to make a decision, and it shows that a guy isn't on the hot seat. A guy in his hot seat with Vivek Ranadive doesn't make a decision like that.
Again, I didn't
And
say that in the comments. Oh, my bad. What were you saying, Ty?
oh, my last point is that, as much as, I've said it over and over again, as much as I like Tyrese Halliburton, it's hard for me to believe that Tyrese Halliburton can be your number one guy, can be your number two guy. And, eventually we're going to have those conversations of whether or not he's a max player, whether or not he's going to be a perennial all-star. And I think at this point, it's hard to confidently say that this guy is capable of something like that when, he is he's third leading the league in assists, but I don't know if that 14 points is going to cut it in the guard-driven league.
Bass says Tyrese already better than CP3. No, I said I think he has a capability of one day becoming as good or slightly underneath him. I never said he's better than him. Number two, your points that you made were valid. I'm just not a fan of the trade. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'm not a fan of it. I wouldn't have done it, but that's just me though. And to say McNair traded his first round pick that had so much value, well, that tells you a lot. That Tyrese Halliburton has more value than Fox, then why'd you keep De'Aaron then? And it's not
The
about
money,
trading
man.
De'Aaron. The better player
The
was
money.
traded. So, okay, maybe the better player traded, but the better overall evaluated prospect was traded because he had more value than our perennial franchise player. Like, again, that's
Is he not our
evident. You
franchise
said
player?
it.
He's our franchise player. He's the guy we gave the max contract to. A lot of people in the comments right now are asking about the other pieces. So I know we've been focusing on Sabonis and Halliburton. I'm aware that Justin Holiday is unvaccinated and he plans on continuing to be unvaccinated. However, I did see a report that something about the California laws is going to allow him to still play. I've even heard today that California may be lifting the mask mandate. So with that being
It was a
said,
week from
I'm
today.
that Justin Holiday is going to be able to play every single game. We've kind of talked about this a little bit, just about Buddy and Tristan and with a Jeremy Lamb. I think something that's being very swept under the carpet and very under the radar is the fact that the Kings were able to get off of Buddy's atrocious contract. Like, my goodness, that was horrendous. The fact that we still had that contract on our books. So not only did we acquire a two-time All-Star, we also got rid of that contract. Let's not forget about that. And lastly, Tristan Thompson already said that he's going to be retiring at the end of this season. So, but that being said, man, we appreciate you guys coming on the podcast. We're noticing that views have been going up because the Halliburton trade has been going crazy. We appreciate you guys tuning in every night. Hey, even though me and I, one thing we can agree on is that we want the Kings to be winning. So either way, however you feel about this deal, the Kings are winning. Hey, win solves anything. Bob, you got any closing thoughts?
Well, the Kings lost tonight, so not way to start off this Sabonis era well, but hey, good luck to Sabonis in Sacramento. I'll be here to watch, but just don't have me say, I told you so. Tyrese, I'll miss you, brother. Boys, I love you in Sacramento, Buddy Hield. We have some great memories together. And TT, I'll see you on, probably E Network or something. I don't know. But either way, Davion, I guess it's time to step up. And Tyrese, man, I love you, dog. I'm gonna miss you, man. You brought some warmth to our hearts in Sacramento. And Buddy Hield, we had some good times together, man. And we'll see what happens. Guess tomorrow on the back-to-back against Minnesota. But I'm not going to sleep a happy camper. But hey, I'm a Kings fan through and through. And stay tuned to see what happens in the next post-game show following the Kings and Timberwolves tomorrow. And for all my Basketball Zone and Cowboy Kingdom fans, for me, Ty, Leo, E-Man, Vince, and everybody part of the CK and Cowboy Kingdom family, we'll see you on the next one.